first of all, what is a chatbot? And I hate the term chatbot. I think it kind of undervalues the service. So let's talk a wee bit about what a chatbot is. So there's 4 pieces of technology really out there at the minute that people are referring to as chatbots. There's the survey automation bot, the bot that messages you and brings you into a chatbot-led conversation. It asks you a question and you answer the question. Think of it as a survey monkey, but on a bot, okay? The user's not able to ask the bot any questions. The bot is not able to respond to any questions, right? That's a bot, okay? We have scripted reply bots or menu-driven bots. So a chat bot hosted on something like Facebook Messenger or your website or on text messaging or any number of other services. The scripted reply bot asks you a question, you reply with a predefined answer or a call to action button click, and that allows you to process through the conversation, okay? So it's a very bot-led conversation. Then we go for the really cool stuff, the intelligent chatbots, the artificial intelligence plugged into a chatbot, the natural language understanding platforms that you can literally arrive along to and say, hey, I'm looking for a sales manager's job in the Midlands today, and the bot will take sales, take manager, understand those intents, break down Midlands into an array of postcodes or city names, query the ATS, and deliver back a selection of jobs within about half a second. It gets really cool whenever you're starting to talk about that stuff, particularly whenever you build in your employer branding and your more kind of conversational side of what it's like to work at the company. So things like, do you offer flex working, can be asked and responded to really nice, really quickly, and can be responded to en masse. And then there's the hybrid chatbots, tying the scripted and the intelligent chatbots together so that whenever somebody is not comfortable doing the chat piece with a piece of technology, you can still offer a nice experience. You can still offer them the option to navigate through that conversation in a way that they're comfortable with. Chatbots live inside the standard applications that we use every day in our life. That would be people visiting your website, interacting through a chatbot, Facebook Messenger, text messaging, Skype for business, Slack, soon WhatsApp, through into Kick Messenger and services like that. So I'm sure that everybody in the room will have one of those pieces of functionality on their phone. That piece of functionality, they already have the app downloaded for, they already trust it, they already use it to communicate with their friends and family. And that's where it becomes really powerful, because we're using the same technologies that you use in your everyday life to be able to apply for jobs, to be able to do your investigation around what careers are like, to be able to promote your employer brand. So you're not asking anybody to download anything or use anything that they're not already comfortable with using. There's 3 main platforms that are adding massive value to recruitment processes at the minute. There's on-site chatbots, there's Facebook Messenger, and there's SMS. Starting with the SMS and the Facebook Messenger, what we see is that through typical marketing, email marketing of your jobs, you'll get a 20% read rate and you'll get a 4 to 5% engagement rate. Through SMS and through Messenger, we see an 80 to 95% open rate, and we see a 40 to 60% engagement rate. So all of a sudden, the messaging that you're putting out there isn't going into junk boxes, isn't falling by the wayside. It's actually being seen, actually being engaged with. The reason that is because whenever we enter people into these conversations, people have actually asked to be engaged. No longer are we going out as sourcers, grabbing huge swathes of data into an email list and pepper spraying that out in a fairly indiscriminate way. We're able to build very, very specific pipelines of people within the chatbots to distribute information that is relevant to that person, and so they continue to open, they continue to engage, they continue to be engaged by it. And then whenever somebody comes to your website, whenever they make that decision to come to your website, if you have been using these 2 pieces of technology, they expect quick, instantaneous answers and a nice user experience. If they then come to your website and experience, I'm not going to name names, I nearly did, okay? Experience one of the ATSs that brings you through 3 to 4 pages of apply process, creating profiles, logging in, entering passwords. If you then bring them to that on your website, you have just dropped the ball. You've just bought a fantastic experience into an old experience. And this is where we're able to get our chatbots to manage that service on the website to completely remove any engagement with your ATS, but to make sure all of that information goes directly into your ATS. So you still have the benefit of all of the reporting and the kind of data in your ATS, but the candidate had the experience of a really nice conversationally based application experience. There's more people who use social messaging apps than use social media now. So if we're able to start transferring that into a platform that we can use for talent attraction, talent engagement, and application process, then social media is old for us. Being able to drive people into chatbots and use that to engage people actually becomes more powerful than talking about social recruitment. So if we enter somebody into a chatbot, the chatbot brings them through the process, but it also allows them to ask questions like, where are your offices? What's the best, how would I get to work if I worked for you? What would my commute be like? Do you have flex working? What's your maternity leave like? What's all the sorts of different things that people want to understand these days before they apply for jobs. We're able to offer them the ability to answer that and get instantaneous answers to encourage them to apply. That becomes really powerful. Through this functionality, we have completely removed any experience with the ATS altogether. We're capturing the relevant details. We're doing it really quickly. We're capturing their postcode so that we know where they are and we can actually create engagement in the future. We're doing the CV upload and everything through the chatbot. And post-application, we're bringing them in to our other chatbots. So this is where we tie together the web chatbot, the messenger chatbot, or the text chatbot into one so that we can have the functionality of somebody applying on your website, but then we can have the functionality of pushing messages out to them in the future through messenger, text, or another platform. So you start to tie together this experience into one true overarching experience of your recruitment process. Well, rather than using it as a one-off shiny object, I believe it fits in as an experience. And that's where somebody experiences on one channel and experiences the same on another channel, so that whenever they go through your recruitment process, they're getting the same consistent experience the whole way, right the way through to potentially a chatbot inviting them to interview, booking in calls using Calendly integrations, all that sort of stuff. So the different sorts of stuff that you do with a chatbot, well, first of all, apply, job search, pre-screening. So we can do pre or post-screening. So we can screen somebody before they apply to reduce the number of applications you get in a really nice, really quick, really simple way that is not massive form driven, which actually keeps people engaged. But we can do post-screening as well. So after somebody has applied to a job, we enter them into the screening process and we provide that screening information back to the recruiter so that whenever they're having the conversation with the candidate, they're more informed about their experience, they're more informed about the conversation they're going to have with them. The communication piece, so once somebody has interacted with any of our chatbots that are on platforms like Messenger or text messaging or Skype, we can then proactively push messaging to them in the future. So if they're a silver medalist within your ATS and a relevant job comes up for them, we can let them know in a really nice way through one of the messaging platforms that receives that ultra high engagement rate, ultra high click-through rate. And then straight through into interview booking. So for anybody that works in a higher volume recruitment process, think about a chatbot taking application, taking post-screening, and then the people that are relevant to the job, offering them to book 15 minutes in your calendar without you ever having had an interaction really quickly, really easily. So the first time you know about somebody that is right for the job that you're hiring is having a 15-minute slot booked into your calendar for you to give them a phone at a time that's convenient for you and a time that's convenient for them. Really nice experience to introduce the human aspect of recruitment.